Hi, I'm Dave Withers. I'm the Managing Director of ISEKI here in the UK, and we're going to do a virtual demo of our SXG323 Plus. We've had quite a lot of customers call in or talk to our dealers and say they were planning to have demonstrations of the 323 or one of our other SXG range, and have been unable to do so because of this coronavirus issue. So we're in a paddock just near where I live, and we have this machine available. The camera person is a member of my household, so we're not breaking any of the isolation rules, but I thought I'd talk you through what our 323 was like, so you may not be able to have a demo at your place, but maybe you can watch this instead. So let's start by just standing back and looking at the whole package here. The machine itself is a nice compact size. It's a powerful machine. It's a 19 horsepower diesel engine, 48-inch width of cut. You'll notice as you look at it, there's no weight hanging out the front of it. That's because it's a really well balanced machine. And we'll go through and we'll talk you through the various bits of it, and then we'll take it up and we'll cut some of this paddock. So the next thing we're going to look at is the engine. So to get out the engine is really easy. You've just got a simple handle there. I pull it forwards. And what we have here is a 3-cylinder ISEKI diesel engine. We make our own engines. The key thing with our engine, this is 1,123 cc's. That's a really large volume engine. And because it's a high capacity engine, we're able to spin it pretty slowly and still generate a lot of torque. So we're only turning this engine 2,600 revs per minute. A lot of our competitors have much smaller engines that they turn much quicker, which obviously generates more vibration, more wear, uses more fuel, and generally is not as efficient as what we have here. Maintenance around the engine is also dead easy. We've got a little screen here, bug screen, which I can pull out, which stops dirt getting into the radiator. The dipstick is just here, highlighted in yellow. I can get at the oil filter, air filter, everything is all near to hand and it's easy to maintain. ISEKI are known for their cut and collect performance. It's what everybody thinks of when they hear our name. And there's different reasons as to why we are able to give such excellent performance in that cut and collect category. Part of it is the deck, part of it is its interface with the hopper. So we're going to spend this segment just looking a little bit at the actual deck that we have here. So as I mentioned, this is a 48-inch twin spindle deck, and it's shaft driven. We don't have any of those horizontal belts driving the different spindles. It's just gearboxes that are joined together. So you might be able to see there's a shaft here coming down from the engine, and then there's a cross shaft going across to another gearbox, and this gearbox here drives this blade, and then the gearbox the other side drives the other blade. We can also make some adjustments. So one of the things you might be able to see is we've got some holes here on a rotating spindle. We're able to open or shut this to allow more or less air to get into the deck depending on the conditions. So if it's summer, we might want to shut that down a little bit so we don't generate too much dust. But in the winter, and when it's wet and horrible, we're going to open that up to get the maximum airflow to get as much of the grass and debris into the back as possible. One other thing you may notice here as well, a little hose lock connection. So we want you to keep the deck clean and in good order, so when you finish mowing, you just put the hose lock straight onto there, turn the water on, run the engine with the blades going, and that in essence pressure washes the underside of the deck, keeps everything clean and nice and reduces any maintenance requirements. But we also need to be able to adjust the deck. So this lever here actually lifts and lowers it, which is hydraulic, so we can just lift and lower it as we go along. And then this wheel on the side allows us to move in about 8mm increments, and we can change that on the go. So I can just turn that and get the height of cut that I require from this machine. So we talked in the last segment about how the deck interfaces with the grass, cuts the grass and then throws it back towards the hopper there. But again, one of the key parts of why our cut and collect performance is so good is about what goes on in the design of the area between the two rear wheels. And to show you that, really, I need to lift this hopper up first out of the way. So I'm going to start the engine. Hopefully you guys still can hear it. And I'm going to just lift that up. I can pull this lever back, and the hopper there starts to lift. It's about a 2-meter lift on this particular machine. This is what's called a high tip machine. You can do a low tip one as well that just dumps the grass where it is. However, on this one, what I need to do now is make sure that we're going to be safe. And to do that, there are these little safety pins. I just turn them around on both sides, and now this is locked into place. So even if the event of a hydraulic failure, this won't come down and crush you. Now obviously if you're just tipping the grass out, you don't need to do this, but if ever you're going to work on it or come under here to clean it, then you must put those safety pins in place. So now we're going to have a look at what's going on between the rear wheels. So most machines like this will have an axle between these two rear wheels, driving the power between them. What we have is we have our axle set right up under the seat, and then chain cases coming down to transfer that power. What that means is there is nothing between these rear wheels. So if you imagine the grass has been cut there, it's just being thrown back on this flat surface and straight into the hopper. It doesn't have to go along and then climb over an axle to get into the hopper. And because of that, it just doesn't block up with the wet grass that many other machines do. Let's have a look a little bit at the controls here. We'll look down the left-hand side first, and then we'll go to the right-hand side. So we've got a safety belt here. We've got a ROP, so therefore we must have a safety belt. Just pressing the little button there, I can pull that out and plug myself in. This is the deck lift, so I pull that back, it lifts the deck up, I push it forwards, it drops the deck down. As mentioned before, this is how I adjust the height of cut on the deck if I want to change that as I'm going along. And I've got these two levers here. First one is that I used earlier is this one that lifted the hopper up. The next one is that what would actually tip it. And again, later on we'll show you that tipping. Final controls down this left-hand side. Yellow lever is to engage the deck. So if I throw that forward, the deck is now engaged. And I also have a light switch here to turn the headlamps on this side of the machine. Now we'll move to the other side of the machine. Now we're looking down the right-hand side of the machine. Obviously, step one is to start the machine, and so your ignition key goes in there. That's vertical, which is better for not getting water into it. We throttle it up and down with this orange lever here. As I mentioned, when we're cutting, we run at full revs, which is 2,600 revs per minute. We also have another button here. When you're mowing and you want to go backwards while still mowing, as you move to reverse, you just press that little green button that allows the machine to mow whilst going backwards. There are some regulations around that, which mean you can't just go forward and reverse whilst mowing. This is our main brake, but it's also got an over center there, which I push over, and it operates as the parking brake. I've then got forwards, reverse, or a twin pedal hydro, driving the machine forwards and backwards. And then this lever here is as you tip when you're getting rid of your grass, give that a go like that, and that moves any residual grass out to just make sure everything's completely clear. And then you'll notice as well we've got a large capacity fuel filler here, so when you're pouring fuel in, it's relatively easy to do so. So pretty simple layout, nice floor, easy to use, and pretty straightforward controls. So this paddock here is kind of semi-maintained on the paths, but this side hasn't been cut since autumn of last year. So I'm going to give it a run up and down here in this sort of less maintained area, show you what it does there, and then we'll do a couple of passes in the more maintained areas as well. So you're going to lose me now because I'm going to start the engine. Been cutting for a while, and this is a 600 litre hopper, so you can cut for quite a long time before it's filled up. But here we are now. I want to get rid of my grass. As I mentioned before on the controls, we've got two levers here. One is going to lift it, and then the second one is going to tip it. So you're going to lose me here because I have to start the engine here to just show you how this works. There we are, all cleared out, really high tip, drops that huge bundle of grass all in one go. So once you've finished mowing, and sadly it's time to put the machine away, one of the things you might find is that the garage, like we're storing it in here, actually is too low for the machine to fit in because this rollover protection system is going to hit the top of the garage door there. So that's been thought of, and all I've got to do is take out this pin here. I've taken the one out the other side a little bit earlier. So pull the pin out, I push the ROPS down, pop the pin back in again into its now lowered position, and then the machine should fit into the garage. So that concludes our virtual demonstration of our SXG323 Plus. We do sell other machines in this range, both larger and smaller than this, that are available. If you've got an ISEKI product, don't forget our dealers are still there for you. They're still open and able to supply you with parts, service, or any other support that you need. Even if you wanted a new machine, they'd be able to deliver that to you in a responsible and safe manner. So I've enjoyed talking to you, I've enjoyed our virtual demo together, and I wish you all the best and hope you stay safe.